In the cold vastness of space, a massive alien fleet traveled through the stars. The ships were sleek and shining, each one brimming with confidence. These aliens had conquered many worlds, and they expected the same easy victory here. They had heard rumors of a small planet with primitive inhabitants, but they did not believe any of that would pose a challenge. As they approached the planet, the alien commander, a tall being with green skin and sharp eyes, stood on the bridge of his flagship. He gazed out at the blue and green world below. "Prepare for landing," he commanded, a smirk crossing his face. "Let's show these tiny creatures what real power looks like." The fleet descended, their ships cutting through the atmosphere like knives. Soon, they landed in a wide open field. The aliens stepped out, their advanced weapons gleaming under the bright sun. They looked around, expecting to see a vast army of humans ready to fight. Instead, they saw a small group of humans, no more than 100, standing in formation. The aliens burst into laughter. "Is this it? This tiny army is all they can muster?" One of the aliens scoffed, his voice echoing through the air. "They look like ants ready to be crushed." The humans, dressed in basic military gear, stood firm. Their commander, a determined woman named Captain Sarah, watched the aliens with keen eyes. She knew they were underestimating her team. Despite their small numbers, the humans were prepared for battle. Captain Sarah raised her hand, signaling her troops to remain calm. She had trained her soldiers well. "Stay focused, everyone," she said, her voice steady. "They may look powerful, but we have our own strengths. We know this land better than they do." The aliens continued to mock the humans, pointing and jeering. They spoke among themselves in a language full of sneers and taunts. "They think they can fight us? How amusing," said one alien, shaking his head in disbelief. "We will crush them in moments." As the aliens gathered in a circle, preparing to showcase their might, Captain Sarah turned to her team. "Listen up! We may be outnumbered, but we have the element of surprise on our side. Remember the plans we made. Use the terrain to your advantage." Her team nodded, determination replacing fear. They had set up traps around the field, hidden in the tall grass and rocks. Every soldier had a role to play, and they were ready to prove their worth. The alien commander, confident in his victory, raised his weapon into the air. "Let the battle begin! Prepare to annihilate these puny creatures!" His voice boomed, and the other aliens cheered, eager for the fight. As the aliens charged forward, their weapons ready to fire, Captain Sarah whispered a quick prayer. She knew this battle would be crucial, not just for survival, but for showing the galaxy that humans could stand their ground. With a sudden burst of energy, the aliens surged forward, expecting to crush the humans in seconds. But just as they reached the first line of defense, the ground beneath them erupted. Hidden traps sprang to life, throwing alien soldiers off balance. The humans had set explosive charges that detonated, sending a shockwave through the alien ranks. "What is happening?" the alien commander shouted, his face turning from amusement to shock. The aliens stumbled, disoriented by the unexpected attack. Confusion spread among their ranks as they struggled to regain control. The laughter that had filled the air moments before vanished. The tiny army of humans was not as weak as the aliens had thought. Captain Sarah watched, a fierce smile on her face. This was just the beginning. She knew they could win if they worked together. As the aliens regrouped, the humans prepared for their next move. They had a plan, and they were ready to show the aliens that size did not determine strength. The battle had only just begun, and the aliens were about to learn a valuable lesson about underestimating humanity. With determination in their hearts, the human soldiers stood tall, ready to defend their planet against an enemy that had scoffed at them. The fight for survival was on, and the tiny army was ready to make its mark on the galaxy. As the dust settled from the explosions, the alien commander felt a wave of anger wash over him. He had expected an easy victory, but now his troops were in chaos. The tiny army of humans had proven to be more than just a joke. He glared at the battlefield, determined to crush them quickly. Meanwhile, Captain Sarah gathered her soldiers in a circle. "Listen up," she said, her voice strong and clear. "We are up against a powerful enemy, but we have our own advantages. We've trained for this, and we know our home better than they do. We can win this fight!" Her soldiers nodded, their faces showing resolve. They were small in number, but each one was prepared to do whatever it took to protect their planet. Sarah looked around at her team. They were not just soldiers, they were friends, family, and their shared determination made them strong. Remember our plan, she continued. We have the terrain on our side. Let's use the traps we set and draw them into our ambush points. Stay focused and we will outsmart them. As the aliens regrouped, the humans quickly moved into position. They had set up several traps across the field, including hidden pitfalls and tripwires that would trigger explosives. These traps were designed to slow down the aliens and create chaos in their ranks. In the alien camp, confusion reigned. Soldiers were still trying to understand what had just happened. The commander, his pride wounded, decided to take control. "Form up! We will not let a handful of humans defeat us!" he shouted, rallying his troops. However, the aliens were still shaken by the surprise attack. They had underestimated the humans, thinking they were weak and defenseless. Now they had to face the reality that the tiny army was resourceful and clever. As the aliens prepared to advance again, Captain Sarah signaled her team to stay hidden. They had to wait for the perfect moment. The humans held their breath, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The noise of the alien troops grew louder as they marched closer. Finally, the moment arrived. The aliens crossed into the area where the traps were set. "Now!" Captain Sarah shouted, and her team sprang into action. They triggered the hidden traps, sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. Explosions erupted and the ground shook as aliens fell into pits and others were caught in the blasts. The chaos that ensued was exactly what the humans had planned. Captain Sarah watched with a mix of excitement and determination as the aliens struggled to regain control. "Push forward!" she commanded. The humans charged out from their hiding spots, using the element of surprise to their advantage. They attacked with precision, focusing on vulnerable areas in the alien formation. The aliens were not prepared for this level of resistance. They stumbled and fell, their confidence shattered. The tiny army was fighting with everything they had, proving that size did not equal strength. As the battle raged on, Captain Sarah moved among her troops, encouraging them. "Keep it up! We are doing great!" she shouted, her voice ringing with pride. The humans felt a surge of energy, knowing they were making a difference. Back in the alien command ship, the commander watched in disbelief. His troops were being outmaneuvered by what he had thought were insignificant opponents. "Regroup!" "We need to strike back," he ordered, but it was too late. The humans had taken the initiative. Captain Sarah's team continued to fight with skill and courage. They used teamwork to outsmart their foes, setting up additional traps and coordinating their attacks. Each victory boosted their confidence, and they started to believe they could win. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the battlefield, the humans stood strong. They had shown their enemies that they were not to be taken lightly. The tiny army had a secret, and that secret was their determination, strategy, and unity. The aliens, once so sure of their victory, were now questioning their own strength. The tiny army was proving that they were capable of great things. Captain Sarah felt a surge of pride as she looked at her soldiers, knowing they were fighting not just for survival, but for their very identity as humans. The battle was far from over, but the tiny army had already made a name for themselves. They had revealed their secret to the aliens. They were small, but they were fierce, and they would not back down. The battlefield was alive with noise and chaos. Captain Sarah could feel the adrenaline pumping through her veins as she watched the alien forces regrouping. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the field. The tiny army of humans was ready to defend their planet, but they knew the real fight was just about to start. "Get into position!" Sarah shouted to her team. They quickly moved to their assigned spots, a mix of courage and fear in their eyes. Each soldier clutched their weapons tightly, knowing that this was a crucial moment. They had already surprised the aliens once, now it was time to take the fight to them. The alien commander, frustrated and angry, rallied his troops. "These humans will pay for their insolence!" he bellowed, his voice booming over the din. "We will show them the might of our forces." His soldiers cheered, eager to prove their leader right. But deep down, some of them were still shaken by the unexpected turn of events. As the aliens advanced, Sarah and her team took a deep breath. "Stay calm and follow the plan," she reminded them. They had rehearsed for this moment, preparing for a battle against overwhelming odds. Now they just needed to execute it perfectly. The aliens moved closer, their weapons raised and ready. Suddenly, Captain Sarah raised her hand. "Now!" she yelled, and the tiny army sprang into action. From hidden positions, the humans launched their first wave of attacks. Small projectiles zipped through the air, aimed at the alien soldiers. The aliens were caught off guard again, some stumbling and falling as the projectiles struck home. The surprise was on their faces once more, but this time the humans were determined to maintain the upper hand. "Push forward!" Sarah commanded. The humans charged out from their cover, catching the aliens in a chaotic storm of movement. They fought with a fierce energy, using their training to outmaneuver their larger foes. Each human soldier remembered their purpose, to protect their home and each other. As the battle raged on, the humans began to realize something important. They might be smaller in size, but their speed and agility gave them an advantage. They darted between alien soldiers, striking quickly and retreating before the aliens could react. The alien commander, furious at the sight of his troops falling back, tried to regain control. "Form a line! Do not let them scatter!" he shouted. But the humans were too fast and too clever. They darted in and out, executing their attacks with precision. One of the human soldiers, a sharpshooter named Alex, spotted an opening in the alien line. He took aim at a cluster of aliens gathered together and fired. His shot struck true, causing confusion and panic among the enemy ranks. The aliens began to realize that these humans were not just a tiny army, they were a force to be reckoned with. As the fighting continued, Captain Sarah fought alongside her soldiers. She moved with confidence, inspiring her team to keep pushing forward. "We can do this! Don't give up!" she shouted, her voice filled with passion. Each word strengthened her soldiers' resolve. The battlefield was chaotic, with sounds of weapons firing and the shouts of both sides filling the air. The humans fought bravely, their unity shining through as they covered each other's backs. They had developed a bond that made them stronger, and it was clear to everyone on the field. But the aliens were not going down easily. They regrouped, trying to use their superior numbers to their advantage. "Focus fire!" the alien commander yelled, desperately trying to rally his troops. They began to push back, but the humans had already established a foothold. In a moment of desperation, the alien commander made a bold decision. "Send in the heavy artillery," he ordered. Giant alien machines rolled forward, towering over the battlefield. The sight was intimidating, and the humans felt a surge of fear. But Captain Sarah refused to back down. "Stand your ground!" she yelled, rallying her troops. "We've come too far to give up now. Fight with everything you have." With renewed determination, the tiny army prepared for the next wave. The battle was fierce, and both sides were locked in a struggle for survival. The humans, with their clever tactics and unyielding spirit, were ready to show the aliens that size did not matter. They would fight with heart and strength, proving that even a tiny army could stand tall against any enemy. The battle raged on, the air thick with smoke and the sounds of conflict. Captain Sarah fought bravely alongside her soldiers, pushing back against the alien forces. The tide of battle seemed to shift with every moment, but Sarah felt a growing sense of confidence within her tiny army. The alien machines rolled forward, their massive frames casting shadows over the battlefield. They were meant to intimidate, and for a moment, fear gripped the hearts of the human soldiers. But Captain Sarah refused to let that fear take hold. "Stay strong! We've already shown them what we can do," she shouted, her voice ringing out like a beacon of hope. As the giant alien machines fired their weapons, the ground shook beneath the humans' feet. Explosions erupted all around them, sending dirt and debris flying. But the tiny army had prepared for this moment. They had hidden behind rocks and trees, using their surroundings to shield themselves from the blasts. "Now!" Sarah commanded, and her soldiers sprang into action once more. They launched their own counterattack, focusing their fire on the weaker spots of the alien machines. The aliens were shocked to see the humans stand their ground, refusing to be intimidated. As the ships landed, alien soldiers poured out, their numbers overwhelming. The humans braced themselves for the fight of their lives. "Hold your ground! We can do this!" Sarah encouraged her team, but deep down she felt a wave of doubt. How could they face such an onslaught? The battle began anew, chaos erupting as the aliens advanced. Blasts of energy filled the air, and the humans fought with everything they had. They moved as one, dodging and firing. But the alien numbers were starting to take their toll. Fatigue set in, and the humans began to feel the weight of their exhaustion. Just when it seemed all hope might be lost, a strange sound filled the air, a low hum that grew louder with each passing moment. Suddenly, from behind the humans, a group of armored figures appeared, charging onto the battlefield. The newcomers were larger than the humans, but moved with an unexpected grace. "Who are they?" one soldier gasped, shocked by the sudden appearance of these powerful allies. Captain Sarah squinted through the smoke. "I don't know, but they're here to help," she shouted, feeling a spark of hope ignite within her. As the armored figures approached, it became clear they were not just ordinary soldiers. They carried advanced weapons and had a commanding presence that inspired awe. The alien commander, seeing the new force, felt a chill run down his spine. "What is this?" he yelled, panic rising in his voice. The tide of battle was shifting once more. The new figures joined the humans in the fight, moving with precision and strength. Together they pushed back against the alien forces, catching them off guard. The humans quickly regained their footing, their spirits lifting as they fought alongside their powerful allies. With renewed energy, Captain Sarah rallied her team. "We can do this! Let's show them what we're made of!" The humans fought fiercely, their determination heightened by the unexpected help. The battlefield transformed into a whirlwind of action as the humans and their new allies pushed the aliens back. As the dust settled and the sounds of battle faded, the alien forces began to retreat, their bravado crushed. The once mighty commander shouted orders, but it was clear that his troops were no longer willing to fight. The humans had turned the tide, and now the aliens were on the run. As victory loomed, Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had faced incredible odds and had emerged triumphant. She looked at her soldiers, their faces filled with joy and disbelief. They had fought not just for survival, but for a future worth protecting. After the battle, Sarah approached one of the armored figures, curious about who they were. "Thank you for your help." "Who are you?" she asked, her voice filled with gratitude. The figure removed their helmet, revealing a friendly face. "We are the Guardians of the Galaxy," they said. "We monitor threats to planets like yours. When we saw the battle, we knew we had to intervene. Your bravery caught our attention." Captain Sarah's heart swelled with pride. They had not only defended their home, but had gained powerful allies in the process. The tiny army had become something much greater, proving that even the smallest forces could inspire unexpected greatness. As the humans celebrated their hard-won victory, they understood that this was just the beginning. Together with their new allies, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in strength and determination. The galaxy was a big place, and the tiny army had shown that they were ready to stand tall against any threat.